Good evening. It's the start of Week 5 with the game between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Chicago Bears tonight. So this is going to be an exciting game to watch, and I cannot wait. Today, though, I'd like to finish up on the top performers from around the league in Week 4, and then I'm going to give you my 2 cents on kind of what to expect for tonight's matchup. So are you ready to get your fix? Well, let's start with my top performer for the Ravens, which is once again Lamar Jackson. Now, Lamar is really fun to watch because you never know what to expect. This man's ability to go out there and prove everyone wrong that thinks he can't throw the ball is amazing, and like what he's capable of doing with his feet is just next level. So Lamar finished the game going 14 for 21 with 193 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. He also ran the ball 7 times. He had 53 rushing yards and a touchdown. Again, another great performance for Lamar, and like everyone else thinks, this type of performance will continue in the future. So for the Washington football team, my top performer is Terry McLaurin. I really like this wide receiver as he's always consistent, okay? And he makes plays that other players really have a hard time kind of making. So Terry has had a pretty solid start to the 2020 season, and he's going to continue to do so. He's going to continue to grow and get better. So Terry, he ended the game with 10 receptions on 14 targets with 118 yards. Now, this is his second 100-plus yard receiving game this season, and I can imagine we're going to see more of that just because of how high of a caliber Terry actually is. So moving over to the Arizona Cardinals, in which my top performer is Kyler Murray, who continues to impress. You can really tell Kyler is settling in nicely and looking way more comfortable this year. Kyler is playing some really nice football, and he's making them tough to beat, and that is also due to the fact that they traded for DeAndre Hopkins, which kind of took a big chip off of Kyler's shoulders. So, that is also like a really big helping factor, getting rid of David Johnson and bringing in DeAndre Hopkins. But Kyler, he went 24 for 31 with 133 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. Running the ball, Kyler had 6 rushes for 78 yards. So just like Lamar Jackson, Kyler is showing that he can use his feet as well as his arm, and that is a huge part of what quarterbacks are starting to turn into around the league as of late. So for the Carolina Panthers, my top performer is Teddy Bridgewater, who looks solid, but he does have some things to kind of tweak on. So he had a really nice run into the end zone that had a lot of people kind of shocked and holding their breath. But he did a great job controlling this game and getting that 31-21 victory over the Cardinals. Now, Teddy went 26 for 37 with 276 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. He also ran 6 times for 32 yards and a touchdown. So not too bad. Going to the New York Giants, in which my top performer is no one. Okay, this team is just straight up terrible. New York now is the home of 2 of the worst teams in the NFL, and it's really just kind of funny to watch because they can't figure anything out. Same for the Jets. Jets and Giants, garbage. They're very bad. The Jets at least have Sam Darnold. The Giants had Saquon Barkley before he tore his ACL, so just an absolute terrible team. So for the Rams, we're going to go over to the Rams. My top performer is Darius Williams, who played some exceptional defense, making sure New York stayed out of that end zone. Now, Williams ended the game with 4 solo tackles and 1 assist tackle with 2 pass deflections and an interception. So overall, not a phenomenal game, but he had a really solid defensive outing. Now let's go over to the Indianapolis Colts, in which my top performer is Phillip Rivers. Now, this wasn't that good of a game as the Bears kind of made it tough on the Colts, in which this was a battle. Phillip ended the game going 16 for 29, 190 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And 1 touchdown, sorry. Again, not a great game, but hey, it's something. Phillip knows what he has to do to continue to get better. For the Bears, my top performer is Allen Robinson, who needs to get paid. Okay, this is now his back-to-back weeks with 100-plus receiving yards, and he's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL at this point, at least in my eyes. Okay, and he's starting to get his feet under him, where I don't think he's going to slow down. Robinson, he ended the game with 7 receptions on 10 targets with 101 yards and a touchdown. So, he's looking like one of those top 5, top 10 receivers in the NFL at this point. Well, that's going to be enough for the top performer. Now let's get to the game that takes place tonight for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Chicago Bears. Now, this is going to be a fun game to watch and a tough battle between 2 solid teams. This Bears defense is going to make it tough on Tom, and I do expect Tom to throw an interception just because the pass rush of Khalil Mack is going to disrupt Tom's game where he might make a mistake or a couple. It's just going to happen. If he doesn't, hey, even better. However, though, I think the Buccaneers defense is going to play well enough where their offense, if their offense scores about 21 points, they should be able to win this game. Tom and the Bucs are really, really dangerous, and if they get hot, there's something special, okay? And now due to O.J. Howard kind of rupturing his Achilles, we might see more of Gronk, which is something I've been kind of waiting for to see, and I hope Gronk goes out there and succeeds. He's been more of a blocking tight end this year, but now it's his time to kind of step up in a big role. So, Nick Foles, he's going to have a tough time tonight, but will still more than likely throw for about 200-plus yards, I'm assuming. He might have a pick. I doubt it. If he does, it's because he's getting sloppy and that offensive line isn't really helping him out. So I think overall the Bucs are going to win this game about 24-17. Now, that's going to end our discussion today as now we await for the much anticipated matchup between the Bucs and Bears. Tomorrow we will talk about this game and what was good and what was bad about it. So anyways, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you tomorrow. And you just got your fix with the Wicks.